my name is Diana Gruber, and I am your corporate trainer for today. And thank you very much for being here. We have a couple of short sessions today. We're going to do 5 minutes each on 2 different topics that I'm experienced at training. And so I'd like to give you a sample for 5 minutes of my training skills when it comes to advertising and business writing. I am a writer. That is one of the things that I do, as well as a trainer. And the second part of today's training demonstration will be about conflict resolution skills, which I think are useful in business settings as well as in real life. So, ready to start?
Ready.
Ready.
Okay, so I've told you my name is Diana. Let's go around the room and introduce ourselves.
My name is Doug.
Nice to meet you, Doug.
I'm Ron Siebel.
Okay, great. And did you know each other before?
No, not before today.
Well, you're going to get to know each other now. Well, what I want to focus on today is verbs. Some people call these action verbs, some people call them power verbs, but I think what's the focus of today's lesson is for you to recognize which verbs are more powerful than other verbs when you are writing text and when you are writing advertising copy. And it's not a rule, but most of the time you want to make sure that the verbs that you use are powerful and get your message across. So the first thing I want to do is a little discernment activity. So which of these verbs would you say are action verbs, and which of these verbs would you say are a little less active? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to decide between the two of you which you think are the more powerful verbs on the board. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to kind of step out of it and let the two of you discuss that.
It's pretty obvious that it's boost and it's stretch and I guess I would even go with ask, change, those would be the 4 that I would pick.
Yeah, I think boost and stretch mostly.
Yeah, the stories. Okay.
Okay, we have a consensus?
I think so.
Great. So which verbs do you feel confident are power verbs? Ron, would you like to tell us a couple?
Boost.
You agree with that?
Agree.
I agree as well. Good job. Other ones?
Stretch.
I think stretch is a very powerful verb. Can be used in a lot of different contexts in different ways. Others?
If I was going to toss one more in, I'd say change.
Actually, I think change, just by virtue of its own meaning, is a very powerful verb. And yes, you're right. It is a very powerful verb that is used a lot in business writing. Which ones are you confident saying that are less active or less powerful?
I mean, B is too broad, if you ask me. And I think C covers a lot of ground as well.
Thoughts on this?
I'd say ask. There's just other words that mean ask that could be more powerful as a verb.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that ask is a less powerful verb
Than those.
than the others.
Mostly because there are other words you could use for ask
Yes.
that would be more powerful, I think.
Can you give some examples? Anything coming to mind? Or Ron, you can help him out if you have any ideas.
Demanded.
Okay. Yeah, demand is a good one.
Yeah. I mean, charged.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I can also think of inquire. Yeah, the list of synonyms goes on. And sometimes when you use power verbs, there's a different connotation than just the basic verb. But sometimes you want that connotation.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What would you say is one really important characterizing element for a power verb?
I would say that emotional impact.
Okay.
I definitely think that for the purposes that you guys are going for, which is advertising, and you want to write, evocative copy, you want something that the reader is going to respond to and have an emotional connection.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a larger topic that we can go into later, but the verb be wouldn't be as likely to elicit an emotional reaction as the verb change, or the verb boost, or even stretch. You can almost picture stretch, whether you're using it metaphorically or literally, whereas the verb be is a little hard to picture and hard to feel. That's a great question, Ron. Thank you.
Good answer.
Thanks. So now I'm going to move you guys on to another activity. Here we have some advertisements, okay? These are some exercises that I have for you. And each each of you will get a copy. Here we have some handouts, and the handouts are exercises which have some advertising copy on them, and they're for the purposes of a writing class, okay? So what I want you to do is, working together as a pair, as a group, I want you to go ahead and circle what jump out to you as power verbs. And you may want to get even more creative and circle very boldly the ones that really leap out at you, and then just kind of underline the ones that leap out to some extent, and leave the other ones alone. So I'm going to give you maybe 5 minutes to go ahead and do this, and you can get started on your own if you'd like, but the idea is that you collaborate and that you get back to me with your answer as a group.
So we're after emotion, you think, or
Feel good?
are we after emotion here?
I think.
Oh, okay.
I think that second paragraph had about trim, pinch, juggle, pour, melted butter.
Oh.
So, thank you for completing that. Let me hear what verbs you found that you thought were particularly active.
I could really visualize when it trim, pinch, juggle, until the work pours out like melted butter. I think that was.
So you're saying trim, pinch, and juggle, and then there's something in there about melted butter, which is not a verb, although melt is a form of a verb.
Yeah.
And it's still very powerful. Thank you, Doug.
Yeah, so that's one of mine is pours.
Pour.
You know,
Yeah.
you know, and it's customer, money, medium. Yeah, yeah. Clouding might be one. You know, I mean, works in a couple of ways. Prune, polish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well I think you guys are really getting the hang of this, and I think you're ready to move on to the last activity for this portion of the training, which is I'm going to go ahead and have you guys, I'm going to give you a product, okay? And the product is actually bottled water.
All right.
Okay? And I would like for the two of you together to collaborate on a project of writing a 3-line ad. So 3 lines is not very much. You're going to want a headline, and then you're going to want a couple of descriptive sentences afterwards, talking about why the consumer should buy this water, and I want you to try to incorporate action verbs in an appropriate manner. Okay? So you'll have 10 minutes to do this, working together. And you have paper?
I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good.
great. Okay, so in a real scenario, this activity might take as long as, I want to say, 15 minutes, because this is having the students incorporate what they've learned into an actual practice exercise, and they shouldn't feel rushed